Reports from Ethiopia accuse the government of committing genocide and blocking aid from accessing various parts of the country. But CRI Radio now reveals the truth about what is happening on the ground from Jemal Countess, photojournalist with Getty's Images, formerly based in Ethiopia.
This war is about the TPLF wanting to return to power. This war is about the fact that they were pushed to the sidelines by an overwhelming majority of Ethiopian voices who wanted to not have them rule over them anymore after 27 years of authoritarian and brutally oppressive rule. The TPLF sterilized 54,000 Amhara women. The TPLF disappeared 2 million Amhara, which are still missing. Before the war, we were finding mass graves in Walkite, where they had been disappearing people for years. On the night of November 3rd, 2020, TPLF commandos and regular cadres began to attack people that they had served along for a long period of time. In their sleep at night, I do believe I saw reports that the attack began at like 10 o'clock that night on November 3rd. And continued for the next 24 hours. During those attacks, they, from what I was told, murdered about 6,000 soldiers. Within those attacks, they committed atrocities. There are reports and actual survivors, female soldiers who had their breasts cut off. I heard that when they were forced to walk out of Tigray back to Amhara, they were playing games like running them over with tanks and all kinds of things. The TPLF is taking young Amhara boys, basically kidnapping them, giving them minimal training, and forcing them to walk out in front of their advancing troops as human shields. Some holding weapons, fake weapons, some carrying nothing at all. One of the things that is downplayed, again, by the Western media, as they have sought to demonize the Amhara and the Amhara troops and the Amhara Special Forces and the ENDF. The story that's never been told is that initially the ENDF suffered horrific losses because they refused to fire on children. They saw and recognized young children. They did not want to fire on children. The witnesses that I interviewed in Chagni that escaped from Metakul and the region, they just basically talked about how some women couldn't bury their husbands because all they had were just pieces, because their bodies had been so brutally dismembered and just, parts of it eaten, parts of it was whatever. Understand that the regime that ruled Ethiopia for 27 years was a brutal, authoritarian, repressive regime that utilized U.S. support to basically control its own people. The U.S. has had this relationship with the TPLF. The U.S. wants to continue this lapdog relationship, and they're doing their best to prop up this regime that basically was a terror to the whole population of Ethiopia.
Ethiopia is yet another country in the world involving U.S. interests where the Western media machine has distorted the reality. Yaakov Tobias for CRI Radio News.